Barbarian horde, it is I, your lord, returned from my sojourn away from your mind, and I'm back just in time to talk about system design. That's right, today we're going to delve into the topic of system design. Before we get there, brand new computer, brand new webcam. Comments below, you will leave them. Let me know how the voice comes across, how the picture is, what you think. I have options here. I can mess with it, and I'm going to based on your thoughts. Now, system design is these conversations I've had with an enormous spectrum of people. People often sending me massive PMs that I've never heard of. Please, if I've never heard your name before, why don't I leave us some comments before you send me, 12,000 words in a PM? It might be hyperbolic, but only slightly. And you get a lot of these people that are quite honest, and they like the idea. They don't want to do the work, and they're never going to make a system. But going all the way across the line, loads of RPG writers, all the way up to legends like a Mark Ryan Hay and a Phil Bricata have bounced ideas around with me, have asked me for input, and I've been able to pick their brains as they have mine to gain a better understanding. Where are the failures? Where are the successes? Why? How did you do things? What is your process? And in hearing those sort of things is very interesting to see how somebody looks at their own product is to say different from how someone who's a fan of the product would look at it, and it can be quite interesting when you can get people like that to talk on a real level and explain how their processes come together. But number one question you want to make, you want to write a role-playing game. And there are a lot of you out there that want to write role-playing games. Let me tell you this first. Here's your disclaimer. Writing role-playing games is not fun. It is work. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of editing. It is a lot of rewriting. It is going for months with one idea only to see it doesn't work as it finally hits a wall and you're like, then you have to go back and rework and create and take from the scraps and redesign, and that can involve just deleting files, and that is not fun. It's like, well, worked about 89 hours on that file, and it's gone. Might highlight like 3 terms out of there, take those. So it can be a system of nightmares, creating a system of role-playing delight. Your game must be special. There are an enormous amount of games that exist in RPGs that are not special. You do not know their names, at least most of theirs, and they sit out there on Amazon, on DriveThruRPG, in the backs of role-playing game stores. No one buys them, no one plays them, no one uses them. They are not used. They have had very, very few games ever told with them. Once someone buys the game and they look at it and they read it, they go, I don't think I'm ever going to do anything with this particular game. Don't be that designer. Don't be that guy. Be someone who can be like, hell yeah, I wrote a damn good game. That's what your main man will be. And I want you to be that too. I want you to be able to have that swagger because you earned it. Because you brought something special. You took a different approach to the game. You brought a different sort of theme. You brought a different style. You brought a different mechanical interface. You used a mechanical interface that supports the theme and the tone of the game well. For example, you want to run this thunder and lightning, boom, 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 action, car crash, pace, boom, you're describing, things are blowing up, you got these ideas in your mind, it's wonderful, right? And then you build a system that's roll, 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 roll. Action 1 finished. Yeah, well, that is not going to bring across the boom, bang, boom, car crash. It's not going to do it. It's going to create this horrible system where players are looking at the wall, completely out of the mind frame, completely out of the immersion, and it's going to suck, is what it's going to do. So you need a system that supports that, that's sleek, that's sexy, that it's like the front of one of those, hot rod magazines. You want your system to be smooth and to support that particular idea. Now, if you're running a game where you're taking, you want to play something that goes even past like one of those Sims video games, where you're keeping track of your character's bank account and the interest that they earn. You're keeping track of, your urination pool. Like, okay, well, I warned you, I was giving you those warnings. Now your urination pool is emptied, and now you urinate all over yourself. And you have something like that. You're taking track of what exactly your character is eating, so that they become more susceptible to certain illnesses or more resistant. They become fatter or whatever it is. Those sort of things. When you're doing them is bookkeeping. You make a game that's all about that bookkeeping. You're keeping track of everything. I won't play that game. I'll tell you that right now. Do not ask me to play that game because I would not like that. But some people may actually enjoy that. So, when you make like OCD the role playing game, that might be something you could bring about. Now, I was being a bit hyperbolic there in terms of sort of talking about keeping track of how long you got to urinate and so forth. I have seen people push towards that ultra realistic type of game. I like cinematic. I don't like. There's a few elements, right, of cinematic I don't like, and a few elements of super realistic I do like. So, and that's another important thing. You don't have to go, I'm super realistic, nothing. You could take the car crashes and put them in there. Boom, bing, boom. You could take a few elements from the super realistic and splash them into your cinematic, and that's an important thing to be said at all times. This is designing. It needs to come together and make sense and not seem like full of seams. That's completely possible. It is possible to mix those styles and make them seamless. When you're designing a game, I don't want to say first thing you need to do is actually sit down and write your stuff. If you're not a writer, you could be a system designer and not have an actual ability to write. I can't really help you here because I am a writer, and I do all the writing for my system design, which is great for me. But you have a lot of times, and I have been approached to system design for other people. And I don't know. I might take the offers. I might not. We will see. You will see what I will surely talk to you about any projects in the future that I am involved with RPG-wise, whether they are for raw immersive games like us on Facebook, or if they are for other publishers. So that's something that I can't really speculate on, but I believe that you could certainly be a game designer. You would still involve writing, or at least telling someone who's a writer your ideas, X, Y, and Z. But let's say that you're going to actually write the game, because, well, I have, and talking from my perspective is going to be the easiest way that I can thoroughly explain, at least my perspective, on this part of the hobby to you, to the, well, probably, let's face it, wannabe indie game writers who are going to watch this, and the people who might watch and go, let me try that. You got to get a team. Just because you're a writer doesn't mean that you can write this. You can't make this. Well, I mean, no, you can't make this, but you can't. This, you see that? Well, that had nothing to do with writing. You understand? There's a lot of stuff that you have to be able to do. This, I couldn't write this. This is made by Alex Gillette, who is an amazing artist. But there are a lot of different things you need. You need someone that can do layout. You need someone that can. You need probably a bunch of artists, probably not just one. But you need your layout. You need proofreaders and editors and play testers. Just a lot of people on your team. And the needs of the slots you fill may vary depending on what exactly you're trying to do. So there's a lot of wonderful pieces of software out there that you can use today that will make your job much easier than, say, circa 1987, when, let's face it, those guys had a hell of a lot more difficulty putting their product together than we do nowadays. And there are a lot of vehicles to promote your product and a lot of places that you can sell your product. And always the key is a good product. Nothing is more important in the game than the game. The bells and whistles, the artwork, the color layout, even correct editing, good editing. None of that stuff is as important as the game. Because you could have the best of all that stuff in a game that's just terrible, and it is of no value. You can have the rest of that stuff all kind of suck and have a game that's amazing, and people will still play it. A lot less people, because you don't have that good artwork, you don't have that good exposure, you don't have a product that makes people trust you to buy it. But ultimately, in the end, it's still a usable product. Sure, you want a product that's well edited. Sure, you want a product that has artwork, that has, whatever the best you can get is. Now, depending on who you are and what sort of connections you have, this could be astronomical upfront cost to you. You may not have any sort of name where you can do a Kickstarter. Oh, anyone can try, but to get funded, maybe not. If I've never heard of you, why am I going to give you money on Kickstarter? I'm not. A lot of other people won't either. So that's a very important consideration. I mean, if you have, say, $20,000 sitting around that you can do a small print run with, yes, small print run can cost you about 20 grand. Now, of course, that's going to depend too on exactly, like if you have a little tiny micro book and a soft cover, yeah, I mean, it's going to cost you less than that. But if you want a hardcover book, if you want something that looks good, if you want something in color, all these things start really adding up. You might not want to go with color. That's a decision you want to make early on. Do you want to go with color? Do you want to go with black and white art? Can you afford? Do you have a budget? If you do not have a budget, a lot of decisions are changed. Those decisions are changed for you. If you don't have a budget, you don't have contacts. You very well may not be able to make a game, but maybe you can. You can always write something. Try to feel out publishers. There's a lot of publishers out there. They may not be receptive to taking your products if you don't have a name, if you don't have a relationship with those sorts of people. So I couldn't really speculate there. Having developed, I don't know if I have a brand or anything, but having developed enough where I have people that pay attention, I have a vehicle to promote my products and my ideas, and a vehicle that allows me to make connections with other people. Thus, continuing to build towards that promotion idea. How are you going to promote your product? That's something you need to figure out, because there's no reason to do everything I just said. Right? You spent the 20 grand. You spend another, I don't know, 5 on your layout, your artwork, all that stuff. Let's not even say 5 grand. Let's say you spend $1,500 on, it's a lot of money, right? On your art and all this stuff. Now you have, I don't know, what did 20,000 buy you for your game? I don't know. But you have stacks and boxes in your living room of role-playing game books that no one buys because you don't have a promotional vehicle under you. So you need to figure out how to do that. There's a lot of things you need to figure out before you begin to try to make the game. Most people want to talk about it, and then they start writing. I mean, just start, and then they're done. Then you get people that write, and they wrote a good amount, and then they look at it and they go, I don't really have anything special. I don't really have anything interesting. I don't think I have anything anyone's going to buy here. They might not say it in that way, but they know. Then you have people that get all the way up to the end. They've written something, and it's pretty good. Or maybe it's not. But then they're at that position. They're going, what do I do with this? Those are all things you really want to try to figure out as early on in the process as possible. Big problem with that, when you haven't written anything, so it can be tough. So again, that's what I would say. Start writing, get something together, get it as best edited as you can, take it and get it proofread by whoever, the most literate people that will actually read it for you, and go from there. Always keep in mind the theme you want to have. Build a system that supports the theme of the game, that supports the tone of the game, the way you want people playing the game. And yeah, I said it, the way that you want them to play the game. You should have a way in your mind how they are going to play your game. That doesn't mean they can't change it. They can't do something else. But if you come with this ambivalent, everything is just straight, you're going to have a game that is off balance. It's not centered. That has, quite frankly, problems that you can't afford to have. You don't have a name. You're not Dungeons and Dragons. You're not a Vampire the Masquerade. You have to be very concise in that. You have to have a thrust, a point, a niche that you're targeting. To kind of give you some examples off of this, I do like showing you that, don't I? What you want to, what I did. What's my niche? What's the reason? Well, my idea was to make the absolute most immersive role-playing game possible. In what my mind would be the best role-playing game possible, game that allows you to play here and to try to hit those perfect 10 moments more often than you otherwise would. That's what I'd play for, that perfect 10 moment when everything, just for a second, is real. And then trying to stretch that second for another second, another one, another one, another one. When you're on that vibe, when you're on that beautiful plane of astral creativity, that's what I'm trying to get. And for me, it's about that, staying in character and pumping out strong narratives, making descriptions as concrete as possible, making the visual element in the mind. And to me, it all runs like a movie right in my head. I'm seeing everything, and I want the players to see that. I want you to feel and engage the five senses. I want you to really have that experience with a game where you go, this is my system. And for me, it's about making a system that runs like water. It's fast, and it flows to the point that it almost doesn't even seem like it's there at times, and it still gives you that randomization, the same randomization that is the reason you bring the system in, as opposed to just straight going with narratives. And you can pull the system completely out and just go with narratives here and there, and then bring the system back in, and then you change it up. You have different flows, you have different design like that, and I like to change the tempo, and it'll tell you exactly how to run those sagas to bring about games that make sense, as opposed to a lizard man, a bugbear, two humans, and a trash with man-like intelligence show up at a bar and answer a help wanted poster to go hunt down Laracuda. That's ridiculous, and sadly often what you get with game masters have no idea what they're doing, and why do they have no idea? They haven't been told. So for me, it's about putting role-playing as the priority and teaching role-playing in the way that I role-play, and the way that I've taught a lot of people over the years, in a way that's worked very well and kept people coming back to my games for 25 years and saying, I think that's valuable and that there's value there, and how do we replicate that, produce that, and promote that. And I think that when you're designing a game, you want to take that tone. Here is how you play this game. Now, the consumer, as soon as they bought it, it's theirs. They'll do whatever they want with it. But when you have that tone, they go, well, let me try that. Let me see. Is there value there? And perhaps there is, and perhaps you give them that value, and they take away something, whether it's just a small element or however they've interfaced with it, and whatever positive experience they've had. And they might use it. They might use 80% of it. They might use 1% of it. But overall, if you give them something new, something different, something interesting, a different style, a flavor, a feel, a different way to interface your dice into your game. These are the sort of questions that you want to grapple with when you're designing a game. It comes down to what makes it special, what makes it different, and what makes you uniquely you. You want the game to be you, and you need to be at the point as a gamer, as a writer, as a designer, to have enough experience to have something that's uniquely you and have that be of value. Quite frankly, not everyone's experience is of value. It's not. You need to honestly evaluate if it is or isn't. If it isn't, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to sell copies. You're probably going to lose money on the whole endeavor, and a lot of time. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try. I'm just trying to be real with you, as I always am, and trying to bring that across. But the other thing I will tell you is, from doing a process like this, you will learn so much about the way you like systems, about what you think systems should be, about how your mind works with these concepts, and what you enjoy. So there's another upside to it as well. But this is my first talk on system design and getting into the heart of the matter. Let me know what you guys think in the box below. And again, camera, let me know how it is.